Greetings, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Iron and Ceramite, where we once again enter the warp without an astropath.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Iron and Ceramite podcast. My name is John, and as always, I'm joined by Shane.
Hello.
Tommy. And Glenn. And we're missing Dave, but I will say, guys, happy almost 1 year anniversary. We've been doing this a year now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I suppose it is, isn't it?
Mm.
Right,
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, happy 1 year anniversary, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you believe it? We've stuck it out for this long.
Yeah. No, it's gone well. I've really enjoyed it. I'm sure you guys are all the same, as you're still here with us. We're all still here together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Loving it.
Yeah. It's a shame we haven't all been able to get together again since either the last games day, and obviously we haven't had all five of us on a podcast for a couple of weeks now, have we?
No.
No, that's true. Yeah.
I'm sure Dave's crying somewhere.
Well, last time it was my fault. It's always me and Dave, isn't it? We're the troublemakers. So
Glenn's sitting there like, yep, don't worry about me.
Even though it was me that missed the last.
Yeah, but you don't count because most of your stuff on the hobby roundups just, I haven't painted anything.
True. At least I'm consistent.
Yeah. Well,
Very true.
We'll break with tradition then, and we will start with you, Glenn, because you did send me some pictures. Not quite the models we were looking for, but I think I've done you some justice.
There you go. So, due to some personal circumstances, I've not been able to get much done this month. I had actually intended to get a lot more progress made with the Crusade armies, but this is basically me thinking of my list.
Oh, brilliant.
So
I was going to say, talk us through it.
Yeah, picture by picture.
So first one is sisters list. What am I going to take with the sisters list? Second picture. What about AdMech? I've working a lot with them recently. Third picture, definitely AdMech. So there you go.
Brilliant.
The Crusade list is AdMech, is it?
It is going to be, yes. Because
Okay.
I traded to some models on Saturday, just so I'd have some extra options. And in fact, hello.
Oh, the old flippy flappy gliders.
Yeah. So I thought a flying unit of flamers is quite nice. So that's what they will be built as. And they will maybe get sprayed silver and get a couple of washes on them, and they'll be up to the same standard as the rest of the AdMech.
I can't take you seriously here, Glenn, with them three pictures on the screen. I just can't look at you talking seriously with that.
I can see the progression, though.
Yeah. It's commitment to the cause.
Yeah. Oh, I felt bad because I so rarely have any pictures for the podcast, so I thought I gotta get something. And the majority of my hobby time is either spent fiddling around with the codex or thinking about lists. That's what I do most of the month. So I thought, let's just take some pictures of it. Screw it, why not?
So one follow-up question. I'm assuming that the pictures, the shape, the editing, the 3D enhancement, was that you, John, or was that how you sent it, Glenn?
Oh no, that was me.
Oh, that was okay.
John,
Yeah.
I
What was
let
that?
big selfies. That was it.
Yeah. I was like, well, I mean, he's pretty fantastic anyway, but let's jazz him up and just make him pop. But
I
yeah.
could almost see the middle one being a phone case.
Yeah. Oh.
That's like, maybe that's our first bit of Iron and Ceramite merch.
We just have to slap the logo on your forehead.
I think.
Oh, that's got to be a picture of.
Mouse mats.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good one. We'll keep that idea in the bag. But let's move on to some actual miniatures. And we'll go for you, Shane.
Yeah, a very sort of in shadow picture of 3 aggressors, because by this point I was sick to death of them. So I'm just glad they're painted. I'm glad they're done. They're now in the display cabinet where they may get played. I don't know, because they're not something I would normally take as part of my Space Wolves list. But I was just sort of crunching through the Imperium magazine minis, and I thought I quite liked the look of the models. So I was like, I'll make them and I'll add some bits to them so they're a bit Space Wolfy. But they were I just found them a real pain in the arse to paint. So I'm glad they're done. I'm glad they've been put aside. And I'm now looking for a bit of a palette cleanser to move forward with. So I have put together the Necrons that came in the last edition as well. So I'll probably just do them quickly because they won't take me too long. And then it'll be on with the Thousand Suns, I think. But maybe a bit of time over Christmas, I'll actually get some stuff done. But we'll see. I can now see more and more the appeal of spraying them a nice base color and then putting a couple of washes over them. I feel like that is the way to go if you want to get the armies out quick.
Yeah.
But these are okay. They're fine. As I said, they came together all right. I think the one on the right of the screen, you won't be able to see it in this photo, but his eyes are a bit all over the place. Like he's had too much of the Fenrisian mead. But
not.
yeah. But other than that, the only thing I was really pleased with, and you can't see it in this photo, but you might be able to see them on Instagram, is the freehand pack markings on the shoulders of the back too. That was quite good as well. But otherwise, yeah, glad they're done, because it just seemed to take ages to get these ones done.
Is that what it was? Just the length of time it was taking, or are they like particularly fiddly?
No, I don't think they're particularly fiddly. I built these ones unassembled, which is what I've done with all of my Space Wolves, because that's where I think I get a better finish. I haven't done that with any of the Thousand Suns. They're all going to be painted assembled, as are the Necrons, and they all seem to be quicker when I paint assembled. But maybe I'm not as happy with the finish when I do it that way. But we'll see. Like as I said, I've not given them a go yet, so we'll see what happens with the Thousand Suns.
Just refresh my memory, Shane. What do you use to paint the base of them with?
This one here is astrogranite, so that's just astrogranite on there.
Oh, sorry, like as in the models themselves, the base.
Right, yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. That's going to change soon. So these were based with Macragge Blue, the spray. So the blue spray, and then just a couple of layers of Fenrisian grey. Oh no, is it rust grey? Rust grey. But I was looking at the army painter stock, which is what I've used for the Thousand Suns, and they've got a what they call wolf grey as a spray undercoat. So the next set of wolves I'm going to do, I'm just going to spray them with that, and then that should hopefully speed everything up, because I won't have to fanny around with like 2 thin layers and stuff like that to get the base coat on. Because the trouble with the Fenrisian grey or the rust grey, whichever one it is, it's a layer paint. So when you put it on the first time, it's quite thin, and you have to have more than one coat, otherwise you don't get the right sort of colour. Whereas I'm hoping with the army painter one, it will just be one coat and I'm away.
Did GW not still do a Space Wolves colour?
No, not a spray. No, so because that's what after they do 3 different colours at the moment. So they do the Fang, which is a base, but it's like that's what I've done the vehicles in. It's much more blue. Then you've got Fenrisian grey and rust grey. I can't remember which way around. One of them's darker than the other, so you use one of them for highlights and the other one to build up the layer on top of the Fang as the base. But I think I personally find the Fang a bit too dark. So I end up doing 2 layers of the one that's in the middle to get the Space Wolf grey colour. Whereas the army painted one looks about right. So I'm going to give that a crack for a squad and see how that turns out. But yeah, that was about it in terms of finished, fully painted models.
Have you? Sorry, Shane. Just to go back to your colours quickly. Is there anything that you've heard of or have you considered with in way of contrast paints, sort of like painting over a lighter primer?
Yeah,
just to try that sort of effect. Is there anything?
Yeah, there is a Space Wolves grey contrast paint, which I did use originally for. So my old Hammer Ragnar model is using that, as is the Assault Intercessors I did, and they were just contrast over was it grey sear. So the standard thing that you would normally do for contrast over the grey sear to get through. But again, I had to end up doing a couple of coats, and because of the Space Wolf grey is one of the contrasts that isn't the best, and it can end up looking a bit patchy and a bit blobby. And it's like you really, with the space, I've read loads about it. The Space Wolves grey, you need to be really good at almost overloading your brush and applying it all in one go and moving it around while it's wet to get the perfect finish. And I just haven't been able to master it. So it was a bit of a pain in the arse, if I'm honest.
It sounds like a lot of effort, doesn't it? Like just to get like the one colour that you want to go through all that.
Yeah, it's a bit much, but like as I said, I'm hoping the Army Painter spray, I think that will do the job, and then that will make it much easier. Like as I said, I'm almost looking forward to when I get around to the Thousand Suns, because I've based them in Army Painter. I think it's called Crystal Blue, and we'll talk about it in a bit because Tom's seen the blue of them.
It looks fantastic. It's a great colour.
Right, so it should just now be a case of putting the yellow and gold on, and they're done. Like, I don't need to worry about anything else. It's just the details then. So hopefully that won't be quite as arduous.
I look forward to seeing the third army that you have to beat me with.
Well, as I said, outside the Space Wolves, it's been, if nothing else, a mixed bag. So as I said, we'll see. We'll see.
Cool. Anything else you've been working on, or are you done, Shane?
No, as I said, it's just started spraying the Crusade Force of the Thousand Suns, so they're good to go. We'll talk about it when we get round to the other bits and pieces, but they had to run out today. And I gave the folding table its first run out against Dave as well. It seemed to work, held up just about. No, nothing collapsed. None of Dave's miniatures got crushed. So, a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. But it was nice to play on a full size table, a bit like Tom's. So it was. I had a battle mat that I was able to use. That's the full size. So it was a good battle.
Nice. Right. Well, one for Angels of Death fans then, Tom.
Right. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I forgot to send in the rest of my pictures with how this model started. Basically, it was, you have the Blood Angels Terminator captain, who's in a very similar pose to this, only in his right fist he would be carrying a thunder hammer. I did the paint job a while back. I rushed it. To be honest, I didn't like the model. I didn't like the look of the face. I mean, even before it was painted, I just didn't. There was something about it that I didn't like it. So I decided to. After the Angels of Death finished, I thought, what can I do with this? I mean, I'm never going to use it. So I took it all apart, stripped it down as best as I could. I'll admit, normally I'd use some sort of green stuff, as in like fairy liquid or something like that, just for the plastic models to strip them down. Didn't have any, so I used methylated spirits on a plastic model. I know, don't kill me, but you're not really supposed to. So it wasn't perfect getting that off, but I now have an airbrush. So I got as much as I could off of it. I put the model together, as you can see it now, to resemble Captain Orfeo from the Angels of Death, of course. Picked a head that I thought looked suitable. Obviously added a few bits of my own to make it my own. It doesn't look specifically like him. Also, I made a green stuff cloak on his back, which you can't see. I probably should have sent John a picture of that as well, which I also forgot. But yeah, so after I put them together, I used the airbrush to paint. So I sprayed him silver first, Army Painter silver, it's plate mail silver, and then sprayed over with the airbrush Blood Angels contrast, which went on fantastically smooth. Like, it was perfect. I mean, so you barely notice the fact that not all the paint come off underneath. It's smooth enough for that. And there you have it. I've obviously done the rest of the details. I didn't really know what to do with the base, and the probably the most stupid thing of the whole model is, as you lot probably know, you can see on the bottom there, that's edited to say Orfeo spelt the correct way, because I spent ages creating the model and painting it and saying on Instagram and saying to everyone else, Orfeo, ORPHEO, and like spelling it everywhere. And then when I went to write it on the base in red lettering, I spelled it with an F, Orfeo. So I had to cover it over with an edit there, and I will get round to painting that black again and redoing it. But yeah, that's basically that model. That's where that came from.
That's cool.
I've heard that the contrast paints, because I said I did a bit of research into trying an airbrush, but I've heard, and I was watching Squidmar, the YouTuber Squidmar. He says that the contrast paints are some of the best paints to go through an airbrush.
Amazing. It's actually funny you should mention him. That's one of the main ones I watched to learn how to do the basics with an airbrush. He's got some more advanced ones as well that I watched, really good, that I will get more into later on when I get more experience with it. But I actually, another picture I could have sent John, really to show how it went on in the first place without anything else. It looked amazing, and I've got to admit, you have to have a certain amount of skill and touch with the airbrush, but you don't have to have anywhere near the skill you do with the brush. I mean, I know it seems like a little bit of a cheat, but the way I was putting it on, once you found your range and obviously the consistency, even with contrast, you can add a little bit of thinner if you wanted to. I didn't, and it went on perfectly fine though. So literally I tipped it in, put it to 20 PSI on the thing and got my distance. And it went on so well. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything that smooth. And even somebody commented on Instagram saying it looked like a car paint. It'd gone on that well. And it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't anything to do with my talent, but that really, really helped me make it look so clean. Just the base layer of red, that is. I mean, all the details are shite because I painted them with a brush.
It's a shame you can't get a precision airbrush.
We can. Here's the thing.
Oh, really?
I got a budget airbrush, so I think I'm using 0.4 mil. I'm not going to pretend I know what that means too much. But you can get the better ones you can go down to 0.2, and it's just once you get used to the angles and everything, you really can do the tiny little details, the tiniest details. I've seen it online, but that's a long way off for me. That's where the skill of an airbrush would come in, proper skill, rather than just basing a model.
How did the cloak go? Because I know it's green stuff, and I know that can sometimes be a bit of a nightmare.
So, to be honest, I wish I had a picture up here now, but the cloak went really, really well. So, I mean, anything like a cloak or a purity seal or anything like that, anything that's flat and you can cut into angles and just basically squish it down until it's, like a couple of millimeters thick. It's easy enough to work with if you've got a sharp hobby knife, and obviously you wet the surface, you just mark it out, and then you just bend it to how you want it to look and wrap it around his shoulders. It's not too difficult. You just got to make sure you keep it damp. And that's it really. It's not too difficult, but it looks really good. I mean, you can just about see the shoulder bits that are coming over.
Oh yeah,
just about. Yeah, so it went really well.
Oh, very nice.
More
very
pictures
cool.
on your Instagram, have you?
I don't remember if I even. Yeah, I did on my story, but not on my. There won't be pictures on it. Yeah. No, actually, there will be. No, there will be. Sorry, there will be on. Yeah, I did put one up in the end of the steps I did. Yeah.
Cool. And then you got this one?
I hate this guy's face. Just hate his face. So I've been entering competitions lately, obviously, because as you all know by now, when this comes out, which is today, that I've been entering competitions. We're doing our own competition called the Artificers Quest. So I thought I'm going to get as much experience as I can in that field. And I made this one, it's not much of a speed challenge, but it was a speed challenge of 2 hours. And you had to prove that you painted it in 2 hours. So I had to film myself doing it and time lapse it. So this took me 2 hours. I know you're probably thinking, looks like 20 minutes work. But I also had to cut the front of these the little logo they've got on the Reavers off and stuff like that. So it took a while, but the face just looks bloody awful. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. He's a flesh tearer, and by this picture, obviously he's supposed to be a Death Watch flesh tearer. So you can't even see his logo. You wouldn't even know. It just looks like he's got red all over his face. No one knows it's supposed to be blood because he's been drinking his enemy's blood like a flesh tearer should. Wasn't happy with it at all. So in the end, I ended up changing his head anyway after I'd done this and tweaking his body a little bit. Made him look a lot better anyway. Oh, so yes. So actually, that was I thought I'd take the opportunity to try to paint a head disassembled off of the body, and as you can see, it's not perfect, but it's a lot more detailed than I would have probably been able to do if it was on the model. I took my time with it, and I was really happy with the outcome on it.
Yeah, it's good. Like even his eyes are really good as well. Like pretty even as well.
Yeah.
It's good, mate. Just looking into his eyes.
So that's what I done in the end. I mean, one reason I think this does look slightly better on the right as well is because I have got a new phone, and it does take a much better picture than the old one, so it's not as blurry, and it doesn't get that big shine of light like it seems to be on the other one for some reason. Yeah, I think the helm. I never say helmet anymore. It's like I'm expecting Dave to be here and go, oh. I don't know why, but I like that look. I did it with one of my Necrons of the sort of red with the like shiny silver coming through.
Yeah.
Why? So I tried that on the helm, and yeah, I think I'm quite happy with it.
That's cool. I think you open yourself up more when you say helm than helmet.
I don't know. We're gonna have to think of
So
something.
it's the way you really emphasize it as well. Helm.
What can we use then? What is it? No, I can't say that. Okay, his helmet looks better now than his helmet looked before, but his helmet is a little bit red there.
I think it's just the way you say it.
It's never going to work.
And you change another head. Another helmet.
It's this week.
So back to another slightly red helmet, and and this one is my chaplain. So we're going to go into it a little bit later, I'm sure. Anyway, with regards to we've started a crusade thing and all that with our armies, and I thought I would. So there's a few things I've changed on this model actually. So the original model had a lot of weathering effects on it, and as you can see, has a bare face. So I wanted the new one. I say it's the same model, but the new look to have a more traditional helmet, sort of like a regular chaplain should look. And I've taken out the weathering effects simply by spraying it with almost like I'd say it's not quite gloss, it's more of a satin varnish. So it's sort of between the two. So it looks like armor, but as the crusade goes on, if he gets any battle scars or anything like that, I was going to start weathering him up and making him look different. He has a battle scar now, but that's one thing I won't be adding because it's stupid. But we'll get onto that in a bit. Anyway, so I wanted him to look fresh and clean for the beginning of our crusade. His name's Gerhard Thane, and he is my warlord, and he will start to look bloodied up and dirty eventually as the crusade marches on.
Nice. Cool. And then what are you working on like now? Because this is your last picture.
So yeah, I could have given a few more pictures of works in progress, but to be honest, most of it's just batch painting now for my Imperial Fists army. I could have sent in a picture as well of I sprayed literally, must have been, it was 40, I think it was 42 models, okay, including a tank and a storm speeder as well in one day, all with my airbrush, literally just went all over. Like took, I think it's a pot and a half of Yandan yellow, got them done. But now's the tricky part, is doing all the details on them and all that. So I don't know how long that's going to take. Other than that, I've got a I've got a new captain for my Blood Angels. I know I've got tons of captains, but I wanted a captain with double lightning claws. So I've made one of them, kit bashed one of them, and I think that is it. That's the only two things I'm working on. My Imperial Fists, just getting them battle ready, and one captain for my Blood Angels.
Nice. Cool. And I have bought you all some lovely presents. You just have to open up the container to get them.
What do you get in there? Is it like just a mixed prize, or is it something set? What's in there, John?
Well, it's disease, all sorts of disease, wherever you want, mate.
Galloping knob rot.
Yeah. You can just press your hands up against the side if you want, and that'll do the trick. But yeah, that's my you saw it. It's my what's it called? My scenery from the Imperial magazine that I made up for the game. Yeah. So that's one thing I've worked on, ready for the 3,000 point battle report that's coming up.
Are we going to speak about that possibly later as well?
Yes, we will. If we can stay awake. Just the flashbacks. Yeah, so that's just that. And then the only other thing I've actually done is my Death Shroud Terminators, which I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, I thought these looked really good.
Yeah, I like these guys. So I want to get another 3, so then I can run a squad of 6, and then I'll be happy. These took me quite a while. Like they're, again, like Terminators, so detailed. Every time I was thinking I'm getting there, I would just find another bit. And the difficult part was all the brushes I had, because I like the Army Painter precise detail brushes. I pretty much paint everything with just those, and they were all dead by the time I was halfway through the first one. Like they were all rock hard, and I did order new ones, but I was so desperate to get these done, ready to go play the game with Tom, that I persevered through. And like I'm surprised how well they've come out, because I was getting so frustrated with the brushes. Like they just weren't putting the paint where I wanted them to, because I was basically doing it with a bit of lead, essentially, drawing it on. But yeah, and then typically the next day I come home from work and the brushes were here, so I was not too pleased. The new brushes. So that's the front and that's the back. And then I've just done a little close up of that. So that's the champion. He's got extra points. I give him I think it's 15 extra points. Gives him the Chimes of Contagion, and then he's got an extra Plague Spurt Gauntlet on his wrist. So he's about 20 or 30 points more than just if you keep him basic. And
what colour did you do the cloth in?
Some sort of purple.
Is that what it's called? Is that the Citadel paint range? Some sort of purple?
Yeah. if you talk amongst yourselves, I'm sure I can find it in my drawer of plenty. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have a look.
All right, follow-up question. What's the range of their gauntlets?
12 inches.
Oh, okay.
So it's okay. I mean,
something you'd fire in just before you charge.
Yeah, pretty much.
Flamers, aren't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Rose.
Sorry?
Same kind of rose, like the D6 auto hits type thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, question 1. That was Demonette Hide was a base paint for the purple.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're all right. They did okay. I mean, we'll go into it again later. The gauntlets, if they work, they're powerful, but they hit really hard. So, out of all my new units that I took to that game, these were the only ones who actually I got them my money's worth out of them. Everything else has been stamped on and thrown away in rage. Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. They're good units. I think a squad of 6 would be really hard to move off the board.
Oh God, yeah.
Can you run them in 7s?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think it's a 6.
It feels narrative to have 7 of them.
Yeah, you'd think as well, seeing as like they've got to be 49, no more than 49 steps away, You'd think.
Why did you do that to him? He's got to go through his codex now, and we know how long this can take.
No, it's you can have 1 champion and 5 Terminators. So yeah, unfortunately,
I feel
I
like
suppose-
GW have got that one wrong.
maybe the 7 is the person they're bodyguarding.
No.
No.
It's a nice try.
Yeah. Oh well, I didn't write the rules.
You've got a good point there. That would be pretty cool if they adhered to them type of rules.
Well, you'd think, yeah, it would be okay, but it would limit you a lot. Like if you could only have like 7 of everything, it'd be quite annoying after a while.
Oh no, but
Well,
these are Death Shroud, right? You know, it's got to be. Some of them's got to be right in the law. That'd be a nice like tweak for that particular unit as well, because normally Terminators, it's what 5s or 10s. It'd be quite good if they just did a box that said 7 because it's the Death Shroud. I think that would be quite cool.
One of the old codexes, you used to get bonuses. It wasn't a compulsory thing. You got bonuses for taking the sacred number for cult troops. It would be nice if, there was some benefit to having 7s in Nurgle units.
Yeah.
Don't give them any more ideas. They're already buffed enough for Death Guard.
Well, you say that. I was looking at someone put like a stat sheet out of the most viable army now. And Death Guard, I think when all the new codexes come out, we were up here. I think we're almost like dead center now with all the new updates.
I think Drakari and Admech are still pretty good, although I think they both took a bit of a nerf, but I think Drakari is still winning a lot of tournaments.
They were number 1 on that list. Yeah. So, and Tyranids are on the rise, apparently. Well,
they'll have to get their codex first.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got the Gene Stealers are getting theirs first, aren't they?
Right, they're the cult, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Tyranids will come on the hill of that. Yeah, so that's it. And then I'm not really know what I'm going to do next because, like I say, I've got all the rest of Imperium to do. I do want to finish reading Mechanicum because we've got to get through that before we catch up with ourselves. And I really want to read more books because Mechanicum's where I got to before we started reviewing them. So
after this, it'll all be new for you, won't it? Because I stopped a couple of books after because I thought I'm not going to do it twice. I'm not going to read them twice. So.
Yeah.
Only sad people do that. Oh, there. Sorry, John.
Oh, well, I had to go back. I had to refresh myself because the first time I went through it, it's all such a blur, wasn't it? Like,
to be honest, I'm envious of you in a way that you can actually go back and do that because I could never do that, read a book twice. And you know exactly what's happened now. I still have no fucking idea. If I went through them books, I wouldn't know what's happened.
Yeah. And not only have I read the books twice, but I've talked about it in length with Shane, and then I've watched myself and Shane talk about it in length.
Yeah, you've written pages of notes as well. Like
exactly. Yeah. It's like a madhouse in here.
You're a scholar of the heresy.
I know.
Up to the Mechanicum.
Yeah. Maybe I should look at getting a writing degree. And I could do it on the heresy because I've written more than most people write for any essays. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. So that's it pretty much. So, Tom, we already touched on it, but I've included it here so we can go over it for those that don't know or haven't seen the video. But why don't you enlighten us on the competition? Yeah,
so obviously we've started a painting challenge competition. Call it what you will. It's called the Artificers Quest, the Iron and Ceramite Artificers Quest. So we've had quite a fair few number of entrants now. Very good people, some pros, some people that do commission work, some regular hobbyists like ourselves. So yeah, anyone's invited to try their hand at it. It is just a bit of fun, but if you also like competitive painting as well, you know, there's enough decent people in there, believe me, for it to be competitive. So all you need to do, there are rules, of course, minor rules, that are over on our Instagram page, which describes exactly what you get. These are going to be the models that you win. So the Terminator will be for the Battle Brother higher tier and the Death Watch, I suppose you could call him a captain or a sergeant or whatever they have there, kit bashed one, that will be for the aspirant tier, which is the mid tier. I won't say lower tier, mid tier. So, you know, the models aren't of great worth. It's just sort of a little bit of our appreciation. The main thing is like our exposure. So if anybody wins, then of course we will feature them on our podcasts and on our Instagram channels, show their miniature and of course their Instagram names. And you know, that's what we're sort of looking to do, just spread the work of really cool artists in our hobby, really. Of course, we're spreading our own name as well, but like I said before, we want to do it in the right way, and I think this is a great way to do it, to interact with the community.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's definitely worked, hasn't it? We've had loads of people like getting in touch because they want to get involved. So I will put a link to the video at the end of this, so it'll pop up. So click on that, and you can find out how to enter. And you got until midnight on New Year's Eve to get your entry in, and then the voting will go up on our Instagram page on the 7th, I think we said. Yeah. So we look forward to looking for everyone's work and getting the voting going. It's gonna be good fun.
Some of the ones that come in already have been absolutely blinding.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple on there that are sort of like top pro sort of commission level, and when they come in, I almost thought to myself, I'm going to give up painting. That's it. That's the fucking point. I think, you know, I'll never be that good. They were that good, some of them. But we'll see what happens. I mean, it's all down to people's preference in certain styles of painting, and you know, anyone can win. It's
the public vote, isn't it? Go wild. Cool. And then I think I've got something to plug. So I got sent some objective markers from a page on Instagram, 40k objective markers. They've sent us these for free to try out. I haven't used them yet in a game, but there's just a little picture there of my new Death Shroud Terminators getting ready to cleave through the Ultramarines. So the idea with these are, obviously, you can see on the center there, you've got your objective, and then the circumference around it is 3 inches. So no more dodgy measuring when you're playing against Dave. You'll know if you're in range or not. He's not here to defend himself. So you'll know. You'll know if your OBSEC's in play, or you know if you're in control or not, just by popping these down. They're really good quality. I got six of them, so you can obviously have all your objectives covered. And they've sent me these, so they're scratch and break resistant, and also fingerprint resistant. So you can, as long as you're not like me and you're eating crap while you're playing and you keep your hands clean, they'll stay clean, and they're obviously you can look after them yourselves. These guys sent these over to us. They've got a Kickstarter running now. If you go over to their Instagram, there's a link on there. That's running up until the new year, and then I think they're moving their campaign over to Indiegogo, so you can jump on there and have a look at them and get involved and get yourself some, because they're pretty good. We'll obviously test them out when we do get a game soon. But thanks for sending them.
Coming to a battle report near you soon, right?
Definitely, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So the next games we have, they'll be coming with us. And it's just another angle there, so you can see as well, they show up really well on your battle mat as well. That's my Imperium paper one, but they'll look good on a decent mat like the ones you guys have as well, or even the one you've made, Tom. I think it'll look good.
Yeah, I mean, if you could look good on a bunch of tea, coffee and herbs, then you've definitely done something right. But I think, 100%. I think that's the way to go for us. I mean, they will make things so much easier, won't they? Just to go, boom, boom, there you go. He's on the point. We know he's on the point. Don't have no measuring, no fiddling about. Yeah, it'll make sense to use them.
Yeah. And
my question is, I've not had a chance to look at them yet. Are you supposed to put them down on the table before you play and use them as the objective markers, or are they attempted to hold over the objective to see?
Well, I suppose you could do it either way. I think you can. Your idea is to put them down to save yourself some time. If you don't want to,
a lot of people haven't got flat tables.
No, that's a good point. If you've got terrain, I bet you could do it that way.
In buildings and stuff like that. So, it's going to be a bit awkward that way. But I see, because they're really clear, they remind me of like the old GW like green templates.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like putting them over or something and just sort of seeing down. Yep, that's in, that's not. So
you could use them in both ways. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so the majority of us all have, sort of flat tables. It would only be buildings that would get in the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you buy a pair, you can use them in any way you want, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think they're really cool. A good idea.
Yeah, so go and check these guys out on their Instagram. It's 40k objective markers. I'll pop a link, or I'll pop their Instagram title in the comments below as well. And if you want, go check out their Kickstarter. And thanks again for sending us these over. I'm looking forward to trying them out. Cool. And now we'll move on to a couple of bits and pieces that have been released or announced for release. We'll spend as much time or as little time on these as you guys want to. So anybody want to talk about the Tau?
Nah.
No.
Not really.
All right, well, I'll skip that then. And the new model, and then they got a couple of rules I thought were interesting, similar to everyone else, but we won't talk about them.
they're going to need a really good codex. Like, I just can't see why any new player would pick Tau as an army right now.
If you don't know anything about them, then
they are a very appealing looking army. I like the aesthetic of the Tau. If they like some new core crisis battle sites, the rest of their battle sites look quite good. But just the standard battle sites are looking a little bit a bit dated now. It's the only thing in the raids that needs an update.
It reminds me of Halo. That's all the Tower reminds me of. Games like Halo on the Xbox.
It's probably where they got a lot of their inspiration from, because inspiration doesn't come from people thinking of things nowadays. It comes from, I can adapt that. They were a good army, but the only thing that makes me go, is it's another gunline army. And predominantly that's the armies that I have at the minute. So it's not an army that excites me.
Fair enough. Sorry, Tau players. I tried to include you today, but we're not interested.
The dark side of
on this channel. Not the Tau.
And then I just included these just because you sent them, Tom, and you said you didn't like the Blood Angels one.
Look, I don't like it. Like, I mean, the Imperial Fist one, I think it's got a great pose. It's got something about it that's different. Double axe wielding, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? He looks like an Imperial Fist. The Blood Angel, I mean, okay, people will say the head, he looks like a vampire. I think they've gone too much into the he looks like a vampire thing. He doesn't look anything like, he hasn't got I know not, they haven't all got the blonde hair thing, but he just looks like an old school vampire, not a Blood Angel, just a vampire. Yeah. And the pose of it, I think it's, okay, yeah, he's got like a mechanical foot and left wrist or arm. It just looks bloody dreadful to me, personally, and that's only the aesthetic of it, that the cramped look, and it, like Glenn said before, it might be the angle of it from the front. It almost looks like a dwarf falling over.
Well, I was going to say,
tripped over that rock.
Yeah. The metal foot and the rock could almost look the same, so I thought it was missing a foot.
Yeah. I said when I saw this, I do like the Imperial Fist, and I like the shield, like on the back, and it just looks like a cool model, right? It looks like a Space Marine. It looks, it's what you've got in your head, right? It's very, very cool. I think it's weird. The Blood Angel, his face, his head. Now that you've said it, Tom, it looks more like what's it called? One of the Comrade Kerr's boys. What are they? Night Lord. Yeah, it looks more like a Night Lord. And I would also agree. Like, I get that Marines have augmetics and they have replacement legs and all that sort of jazz. I just don't think it just looks a bit shit in this particular instance.
Do you remember the wooden things, the wooden stretchers that used to go into people's shoes to stretch their shoes out? No,
yeah.
England, they used to be these massive, almost clog-like looking things. I mean, if you're Blood Angels, right, and you're like, you love the aesthetics of everything, and you have amazing artificers working, why on earth does it look like he's got a club foot, even though it's made of metal? It could have made it look like anything. The most perfect foot, but it's made like that. And that looks like a croc.
Maybe it was just done like hastily mid-battle, just to get him back up and going again.
Yeah,
I get why they've got these augmented limbs, but yet they don't put their armor back over the top of it.
That's the other thing, right? Why wouldn't they? Why would, especially the leg? Why wouldn't you just have a fake, like a fake leg that looks like power armor?
Yeah, like some of the more like the Iron Hands or something like that. Fair enough. They like their mechanical stuff. Fair enough. They've got a big old metal leg hanging out. But like Tom said, Blood Angels in particular, they like the aesthetics. So the fact that he's got an augmented foot, put a goddamn boot on it, so it looks like the other leg. Although I do like the fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be very, very tempted to go at him though with a little Dremel and take all that fist iconography off him and make one badass Space Wolf.
Well, here's the other thing I was going to say is the thing with, he does look more like a Space Wolf, and he's got a beard. He's even got
the big beard and a couple of beefy combat weapons, you think Space Wolf.
He's even got the name, like Fafnir, just comes across as a much more Nordic name. But
they're similar to that, though, aren't they? The Imperial Fists, they're from an ice world themselves, Inuit.
Yeah, but they're not like, as I said, they're different. They are from the same thing, but they have a different martial legacy, as it were.
Yeah.
And it's it's unusual you'd see, like, other than Sigismund, because he's obviously was a big swordsman, big duelist, as it were. You don't see the Imperial Fist being too melee orientated. But the only thing I was going to say about the Blood Angels, which maybe proper heresy heads are screaming at us right now for, is I don't know whether what's his name, Dominion Zephon, because I was looking at, he's got both of his arms are augmetic, right, and his legs are augmetic as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his backstory is. I don't know if literally, some bloodthirster or whatever has ripped all his limbs off, and someone's found him, patched him back together, literally on the on the gates of terror, and that's why he's back into it. I don't know his lore. Maybe that's it, and maybe the lore heads, that's a very cool model because that's his backstory. But for me, who doesn't know him,
I know that Fafnir ran. I'm not saying 100%, but that name really rings a bell from the heresy. Something I've read in the past. The other one, unless it's a book where because I stopped on around about number 40, 42. So unless it's after that, I don't remember him, or he was a minor character, but that name doesn't ring a bell at all. Anyway, ghastly model for a Blood Angel. It really is.
Okay. And then the thing that everybody's really looking forward to then is Space Marine 2. I've still not finished Space Marine 1, but yeah, looks good. Tyranids this time. Moving on.
Yeah, it does. So old Titus has crossed the Rubicon. I think he looks a bit, well, I said, I don't know. I think he looks quite different compared to Space Marine 1 in his face. He looks a bit squatter. But apparently it is definitely the same Marine. But yeah, I thought his face was a bit different compared to 1. But other than that, the trailer, everything about it, very, very cool. Looking forward to it. Can't wait.
He's been demoted as well.
Yes. Yeah. But we know it's at least 200 years on from the first one.
Well, he's done all right then.
Because of his studs, right? Service studs?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. He's gone from 2 to 4.
All right. So what, you get a stud every 100 years? Is that, I didn't know what they were for.
Yeah, that's
John would like a stud every 100 years. Anyway, so basically, there's a lot of theories out, isn't there, about it, that if he's been in the Death Watch or if he's been in the service of the Inquisition in some form. What do you reckon, Shane? I know you know your lore a little bit.
Well, the one that so the bit that came up, or the one that I saw, was obviously they focused in on the chains around his one of
Like
his
a
arms.
Templar.
Yeah, so because obviously at the end of spoilers here, John,
No, it's
at the
fine.
end of Space Marine, obviously the Inquisition is there, and so are the Templars. And there was one of the theories was that maybe he spent time with the Templars because of the Inquisition bit, the taint and all of that stuff, to try and prove that he was not not tainted, as it were, and that was the chapter to do it, and that's why he carries the chains and stuff like that.
So it's like a penance, is it, or something?
Yeah,
like
that's what I mean. It could be. I think it's probably maybe that's overdoing it a little bit. I don't think there's going to be much to do with the Templars at all. I think it's going to be more Inquisition based, and I think it will be more of like he'll have undergone some form of penance to get back to where he is. But I don't know how much of his backstory we'll actually get. It'll be interesting just to see. Obviously they put the NIDs in, but like last time, and again, spoiler alert, John, it started with orcs and then ended up chaos. You know, it might start NIDs and go somewhere else. It might be NIDs all the way through. There's so much more they could do with it this time round. So I'm just looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, whether we see any other chapters, whether we see any other bits and pieces out of the lore, but also just hopefully that they've retained the same gameplay as the first one.
Yeah. What platform are you going to get it on?
PS5.
PS5.
Yeah, that'll be a PS5 one for me.
I'll have to finish the first one and then get it on Steam.
John, you're playing on the PC at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
So much easier to aim on there, John. So much easier.
Well, all right, fine. I got it on for like a couple of quid. So.
No, but honestly, I think the one thing I'm looking forward to most, obviously we play a little bit of Deathwing here and there when we're pissed out of our face, but if we could start an Iron and Ceramite little crew on this, on the multiplayer, like they had on the last one, with our own colour scheme, which you used to be able to set your own colour scheme and things like that, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
The old multiplayer, that was the first, because I'd played like loads of like Call of Duties and all that sort of stuff. The Space Marine one was the first multiplayer that I actually got into and played loads of after the game had finished. So I am looking forward to that as well, because the way they made it feel was really good, and you were just playing with people that also just loved it, so it was good fun.
Yeah, definitely, man.
That'd be really cool if we can get a IMC little crew going on there. That'd be good. And I think it's a bit like, I don't know what the multiplayer is like, but it's better than Deathwing, because Deathwing gets a bit repetitive after a while.
Oh, the multiplayer is completely different because it's sort of like, as Shane sort of touched on, it's like basically Call of Duty but Space Marines.
Yeah.
So it's you're all people against people rather than yourself against just random enemies. They do have that part of it as well. I can't remember what it was called. Shane, do you remember when you used to be able to team up with people to go against the orcs, and you'd have wave after wave against you?
It's classic, like it's a horde mode, but I can't remember what it. Classic horde mode. Yeah,
you do have that as well, but you also get the full-on Space Marine versus Space Marine, or Heretic versus Space Marine. So yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah,
that remains
cool. Oh, we'll look forward to that then. So shall we wrap it up, and then I think Dave's coming on for the next bit actually.
Yep. Okay. Sounds
cool.
good.
So, who wants to do the honours?
I've been drinking too much. Go on. Glenn's turn.
Out.
I don't mind doing it. Yada yada yada. You hear this at the end of all of our stuff. Search Iron and Ceramite. That's where we are. Find us. Search. You'll be fine.
Do it.
Iron and Ceramite.
That's it. Well done. Thanks for stepping up. Okay, and then with that really underwhelming ending, we'll call Exterminators.
As always, we would like to thank you for listening to our Iron and Ceramite podcast. If you liked us, then you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any other good podcast services. Just remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Cool.
I need
Yeah, Dave's just said he's coming on, so I'm going to make another.
There's Dave.
Group.
Hello, Dave.
Hey, Davey.
Right, I
Have a
think
mismatch.
just as you've joined, Dave, we're all going to get up and have a break.
See you later, mate.
See you later.